Welcome back to Hoppline and a long-term review of the Duotone Unit SLS Concept Blue. Quick disclaimer up front, like always, this is an unpaid and unbiased review. Duotone and especially Tim were kind enough to send me a demo unit a couple of months ago, and I was able to test it and ride it on really a longer period of time. Very much enjoyed this wing, so let's dive right into it. I'm gonna start with the back. This usually comes smaller, but it kind of unpacks or gets bigger if you have the boom attached. So right now I've got it in the back with a boom attached, and that's really nice that you can fit it in the back. The back itself's got like little compression straps right here and a backpack. It's it's a pretty nice bag. It's got a mesh fabric right here so the wing can dry if you put it in wet and the sand can get out. And like I said, if you're packing it without the boom or if you're packing it with the handle, it just folds down a lot smaller. So here it is, the new Duotone unit, and for 2025, Duotone came up with 3 different constructions. The first one and the most expensive one is the D-Lab, an all Aluula construction. And then the second one is this one, the SLS. This is the Concept Blue one. It's got a little bit of Aluula where it matters the most. And then there's the regular unit, which uses the MOD3 material, which is still a high-tech material, but there's no Aluula integrated. Inflation is very easy and pretty straightforward, but Duotone does have their own system. So you do need one of these little adapters. So let's inflate this one real quick and talk about the key features. Let's dive straight into the new features on the Duotone Unit SLS in the Concept Blue construction. And I think the one that's most obvious and sticking out is the bright yellow Aluula material we're seeing here on the center strut. And they've done it for 2 reasons. First of all, to add stiffness to the front strut and to the canopy tension. And second, they decided to only use a small amount of Aluula to bring back the price tag compared to the D-Lab. The D-Lab is maybe a little bit stiffer, but at the same time, it's more expensive. Also new for 2025 are the new booms and handles. You just have to be aware that for 2025, Duotone is using some sort of a modular system. So you're choosing a wing and it comes without the handles and without the boom and the leash, and then you just buy everything separately, which I think is honestly the best way to handle business, because if you're shipping with a handle and someone wants a boom, you're just having extra handles that are sitting at home and you don't need them really. So having like a modular system and you just pick the things you need is perfectly fine for me. The handle and the booms come in different sizes. I think they have 2 different sizes of the handles and 3 of the boom. So the small carbon boom fits the 2 square meter wing. If you're having 2.5 and 3, you need the medium, and anything bigger than that uses the large boom and the large set of handles. So that's very nice. If you're having a set that starts bigger than 3.5, you have only 1 boom or 1 set of handles that are interchangeable. They are cushioned all the way around. A little bit of protection right here, very slick attachment, streamlined. There's little covers you can use to cover these attachment points if you're using the boom instead of the handle. Inflation and deflation is very straightforward. They went with a big valve for the inflation, and there's a second deflation valve, just a small one to save some weight right here, but it works perfectly fine. And then there's a little clamp on the one pump system so you can close them off if you want to. Also new for 2025 is a new, more rigid front handle. It's still soft, but just more rigid, so it's easier to manipulate the wing when it's flagged out, but at the same time, you're not gonna crack your board when it hits the board. There's a little bit of a neoprene cover right here, small, but big enough to protect your knuckles, and it's just saving weight having a smaller patch. Recommended pressure is 8 psi, and this already gives you a very stiff and responsive center and front strut. There's only small patches for protection right here and on the wingtips right here, but I think that's more than enough, and it saves a lot of weight having less of these things. There's 1 batten on each side right here, Again, having two would add a little bit more weight, and I was totally fine with just one here. There's two windows. I'm not a big fan of windows, and if you would ask me, I would definitely go without. The new material mix and the construction of the Duotone Unit SLS make it a very light and responsive wing, and I really enjoyed riding it. The new canopy material is made from, I think, some sort of recycled materials, and they are using eco-friendly materials for the bladder. I also like the graphics and the look, and I think this is something Duotone overall on the boards and the foils and the wings. It's just my personal taste, so I'm really enjoying this wing in terms of look. I mean, look at it. It is nice, with that little bit of blue details and just the yellow in the graphics and the yellow from the Aluula. So what are the key features in terms of riding the Duotone SLS in the Concept Blue construction? And first of all, it's very light, it's very stiff and responsive. It pumps very, very good once you have found that sweet spot. And that's probably something some people might struggle with. It takes a little bit of practice to get into the right pumping motion and the right pumping position. Once you've got that dialed in, it's very efficient, even in light wind. It's a breeze to take off, but it takes a little bit of practice. It's got a lot of speed, upwind performance is really nice. And the thing I enjoyed the most is how effortless and well balanced the whole construction is. It almost disappears flagged out. It's just doing what it's meant to be and what I wanted to do at the moment, and this is something not every wing does. Other than that, it's saving weight where it can, and the boom option is just amazing. It's light, it's oval, it's small, even in the winter with gloves, it's a perfect boom. There's a lot of space in between the center strut and the boom, which I really like because sometimes I'm having gloves. If you attach the handles, the front handle is a little bit longer and still has that pistol grip, making it easy for flagged out position where you want to repower a little bit, and at the same time you can ride it one-handed, which I think is one of the best solutions for handles on the market if you're not into a boom. It gives you the benefit of still being able to fold down the wing in a smaller package, but like I showed before, if you're rolling up the wing with the boom attached, it still fits into the bag. Real quick in terms of size, I was using a 4.5 square meter wing all the time. For me, this is a one wing quiver, to be honest. I was using it in gusty, hard winds, but I could easily take off once you found that sweet spot. I could easily take off in 8 to 10 knots of wind with a foil somewhere in between 1,000 and 800 square centimeters on a 55-liter board. So it's got a really nice sweet spot. It's got a lot of power in low end once you know what you're looking for and how to get this power into the foil and into the board. Like I said, I would recommend this wing for someone who's been wing foiling before, who's got a little bit of experience. So if you would ask me about the downside of this wing, I would really have to look for something. I really enjoyed it. One thing I didn't like, and especially if you're interchanging between the boom and the handles on a regular basis, it's screwed in and there's little tiny caps to close the hole of the screws. And if you're changing that very often, that might be a little bit annoying. I'm sticking to the boom all the time, so it's not a big issue for me, but I could see that if someone is, like I said, interchanging every day, that might be a little bit annoying. Maybe the same for these little attachment things that cover this area right here. You don't really need them because this is all flush and there's not much of a risk to hurt yourself. But if you're putting them on and they are glued on, I kept losing them. I think there's 2 kits or 2 spare parts included in the wing, so it's not a big issue, but I think there's just better solutions from other brands in attaching if you're changing the handles and the boom on a regular basis. So that's it for today. I really enjoyed riding the Duotone SLS, especially in the Concept Blue construction. Gives you a little bit of a nice feeling having a more eco-friendly wing in the water. Thank you, Tim, for giving me the chance to ride this for a couple of months. I'm very sad I have to send it back. If you have any questions about this wing, about anything else, just use the comments and I'm trying to get back to you as soon as possible. Make sure to follow my channel. There's a lot of reviews coming up, so I'm very much looking forward to see you back again.